Solomon Phoenix here. Welcome to another edition of Fell Win. It's okay, today I'm going to be starting a new series. It's going to be called, the series is called The Law of Attraction. Your wish is your command. Okay? Your wish is your command. Man, there's like so many planes flying overhead at the moment. I can actually see them all circling the airspace just above me. I was thinking long and hard about why I should do this series for you guys, okay? And the bottom line is, as I was sending out an email to my subscribers, I think it was like 2 or 3 in the morning of this morning, something said to me, well, what can I give my subscribers? What can I actually do for them, What is it that they need? And something came back inside my heart and said, well, why don't you talk about what you have already learned and you are also applying in your life, which is the law of attraction. Now, some of you may be familiar, some of you may not be so familiar with the concept of the law of attraction. For you that are not familiar with the law of attraction, I'm going to quickly just take this just to break it down for you ever so slightly so you can get a gist and so you guys can be on the same page. The law of attraction is a universal law, just like any other universal law. So for example, we have the law of gravity, okay? However, aeroplanes and aircraft, they use a different law. It's called the law of lift, which supersedes the law of gravity, i.e. when a plane is taken off, it needs to find a matching speed, it needs to face into the wind, therefore it has to get enough air over the wings for it not only to take off but to sustain flight. So this law actually outproceeds the universal law of gravity, and it's the same with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is simply a frequency that we put out into the atmosphere with our thoughts and our feelings. And what happens is a matching frequency will be received and will cause situations, circumstances and events that match the frequency that you give out. Let me break that down for you one more time. The law of attraction is simply a frequency that we, as human beings, we put out. A matching frequency then comes in according to what we've put out. This is the law of attraction. In other words, these are the secrets that they don't want you to know about. You're like, oh my God, what is this black guy talking about? That's right, you heard it. You see, our brains are emitters and receivers, okay? You see, what I'm trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, is that the world is not out here. It's not out here, it's in here. This is what creates our reality, okay? So I want you guys to kind of get the gist of what I'm saying here, and then we can move forward. Now, I'm putting together this series called The Law of Attraction. Your wish is your command. The reason being is because a lot of people are working their butts off. They are working a 9 to 5. They're doing whatever it takes to put food on the table, to please their families, to do whatever it is necessary for them to, be able to operate in this physical world, okay? And I'm here to say to you guys that there is a magic that can be obtained, that is achievable if you take action. If you take action, you must take massive action and apply what I'm about to say to you. So let me give you an example of the law of attraction. When I was 16, I left school and I left home, and I was working for a mechanic. It was actually a recovery company where these guys, they had their own vehicles, and if a car was to break down, It was basically roadside assistance. Now, the company I was working for was called Cartech.uk. It's a somewhat of a large recovery firm in the United Kingdom, because that's where I'm from, right? Now, so I was working there from the age of 16. I did about 2 years, okay? To cut the long story short, the owner of the company, he had a passion for racing 924 Porsches, okay? Now, we're not talking Formula 1 here. It's simply racing the old 924s, the Porsche 924s, okay? Now, the owner, Kim, had a racing team, right? And what we used to do outside of our work and over a season, we used to go to various different racetracks around Great Britain and also into Europe, and we used to race these cars. Now, Kim was very, very smart, not because he was a businessman, but what he did, he knew that there was a market, and he would rent out his free vehicles, his 924s, right? And so we had drivers that would pay Kim money, and they would actually race his cars. He would maintain them, maintain the cars for them, but effectively they were renting out his vehicles for them. Now, I remember this because we were in France, and I remember because I had never been abroad before. So going to France was a big deal, and we went to a racetrack in France, and I was so excited because I'd never been out of the country. I had never travelled at this point in time, and the place stood out for me because it was the one place where you paid, like, I think it was like was we in euros at the time? I can't remember, but it must have been like €7 or 7 francs for a glass of Coca-Cola, right? Now, what am I trying to say here? This was a race weekend, and throughout the race weekend, I believe it was on the Friday or the Saturday, I can't remember which one, I kept saying to Kim, I said, Kim, it was a beautiful day just like it is today. I said, Kim, I just got this feeling that we're going to come first, second and third, right? And I was adamant. I mean, I was super convicted, right, that we, a team, were going to come first, second and third. And I kept saying it so much. I was saying it so much. Dude, I think we're going to come first, second and third. And it became such a point where I think he became a little bit frustrated with me because I believed it so much. I kept talking about it so much, and he became a little bit frustrated with me because he thought that maybe, you know, I was maybe setting a barrier that maybe was unattainable, right? Okay. Well, you know, guess what happened? Our team came in the final race first, second, and third. I want you to think about that right now. First, second, and third. Okay. Now, you could call it luck, and you could call it, you know, whatever you want to call it, okay? But it wasn't luck. And I'll tell you why. Let's go back to what I said before. The way that the law of attraction works. You put out a frequency, and a matching frequency from the universe, from God, will come back in. That creates circumstances, situations, or if you like, even people, for them to create the reality which you have broadcast. In other words, let me put it to you in a different way, okay? Right now we are tuned into BBC One, or we're tuned into Kiss 100 FM. And this radio station right now is broadcasting, okay? Broadcasting. As soon as we tune into a different frequency, we no longer pick up Kiss FM. We're now going to pick up 99.3 FM, which is a totally different radio station. Okay, but it doesn't mean that Kiss FM is not broadcasting, right? Now, what does this have to do with business? You see, a lot of people right now are working physical labor, okay? It could be mental, it could be an office job, or they could be packing, you know, doing whatever they're doing, okay? But I'm saying to you that you have so much power right now, right, that actually, if you were to leverage the law of attraction, you would work less and get more from it. You would actually work less and get more from it. Okay? So I want you to think about what I've just said here, and I'm going to sign off, and stay tuned for the next edition of Fail Fail Win. Take care of yourself and each other.